Lovely people. I don't know if today you would consider this an emergency pod, but we won't be podding tomorrow. A few pre whatever the fuck I had going on. Um,
Nigga said
uh,
I know the word, but I can't think of it right now.
bro, my brain be so fried. It's actually ridiculous. But um, as I said, we normally on Thursday, but because won't be here tomorrow. Well, won't be here tomorrow is Thursday, since we won't be here tomorrow Thursday. Decided that we would pod for you guys. We'd put that out there, have you guys vibe like you vibe. Um, anything Mook you wanna maybe get out the way before we start the pod or we start bantering?
Oh, my, I'm just love for everything. Hopefully, everybody' health is in a great place, mentally and physically. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to niece, happy birthday, and
Okay, happy birthday, niece.
you know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, yeah, bro, just some chill shit. Just everybody have a good day.
All right. Like I said, this is kind of a impromptu pod. Normally we go Thursdays, but since we're here today, let's get right to it. One thing I saw on my timeline that had me, and if anybody doesn't know, essentially this podcast is literally our timelines and or nonsense that I have seen in the world, and then I just come here and we discuss, and I
Facts.
discuss with you guys. We find some common ground, or we don't, but that's how this kind of works. So on my timeline this past weekend, they've been talking about the Tuskegee University and their dress code implementation. No
Oh,
bonnets, do rags, things of that nature on campus, and
like at all?
well, I guess while going to class, while in in offices and meetings and things of that nature, and
Okay.
it caused some uproar on the timeline. The timeline got to arguing about respectability politics, things of that nature. I I never went to an HBCU, so I just want to put that out there. Like I don't have the same connection that
Yeah.
other people have, so I just want to put that out there. For me, once again, this is just me. Nobody else. This is not a black thing. This is just a me thing. I never wanted to go to an HBCU because of that. Because of no funny shit. Because of the heightened sense of rules. When I grew up, only thing I saw two no, don't let me lie. When I grew up, most of the college I saw seemed to be really fun. And the times that it wasn't fun was when it was like the Hillmans, the quote unquote the HBCUs of the world. Like that's where there were like a bunch of rules and a bunch of extra shit. And a lot of the college stuff that I run, oh, you know what? I'll lie. House Party 2 is actually the opposite. I would argue like that's one of those movies where like college is just fun,
Yeah.
it's super black, and it's all of that. But for the most part, like a lot of the college stuff I watched growing up, if it was a lot of black people, there was a lot of like rules. There was a lot of extra. It wasn't just like go get drunk, have the time of your life. So for me, I knew like when I was going to college, like I didn't want to go to a place where I felt like was going to be a lot of rules. Like that was not my 18, 17-year old self. That was the opposite. Like I wanted to go do debauchery. I wanted to go places where I felt that's what would happen. So,
Like, say, if I want rules, I could stay here and go to UMD.
so for me, and I'm gonna bring it back to the Tuskegee thing, but for me, I understand why an institution might have rules and things of that nature, but there's something to be said about 18, 19, 20-year olds being allowed to kind of be themselves in whatever version that is. I know college is supposed to be preparing you for, the real world and things of that nature, but there's, like I said, there's something to being 18 and just being that, whatever that means. And like I said, when I went to college, like we started school in August. From August till December of my freshman year, I went to class in my pajamas. Like that's what like
Yeah, you
I
definitely did.
I literally would wake up, roll out of bed, and get to class. Like whatever I had on the night before, more than likely was what I was wearing to class. So for me, it's just a real disconnect. Like my actual college experience is just no. That's it's crazy to me. So I I think I understand why they may want to do that, but
Yeah,
just me personally, it's a wild concept, and I get why 17, 18, 19, 20 year olds are like, fuck that, that's whack.
for sure. Um, I also think like I ain't go to college. Get that out the way. You know what I'm saying? I got honorary degrees from UNB, Temple, and you know what I'm saying.
A few other places.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks to my good man that, you know what I'm saying, pursued higher education. But yeah, but I also think it's just like for one, these are smaller institutions, 9 times out of 10. So it's like it's easier to like only thing I really know about HBCUs, especially like when I was going through my college search and whatnot, is like they have like the freshman thing, like freshmen gotta dress up like every
They
Friday
got
or
like
some
night.
shit.
They had like what you
Freshman seminar classes or some
no no no
shit.
no no. The one thing that killed me was they were saying fuck it what everyone has kids have this in their homes. They had
Oh,
bedtimes. Yeah, no, it was like you. They were like, yo, after
oh
11
yeah,
o'clock,
curfews and
curfew.
shit.
There we go. I'm
There
sorry,
we go.
curfew,
Yeah, curfew. Yeah, yeah,
bro.
yeah.
They were like
So
after a certain time, people, you girls can't come. I'm like,
yeah,
literally, that's the whole purpose of
of
college.
college. Yeah, for
It's to be
sure.
able to go hang with girls, like without nobody interfering. Like to me, no funny shit. Like I'm glad you brought that up because I think this is the once again, you know me. I like to find the larger conversation,
Oh
and I
yeah,
think that is the larger conversation is that HBCUs have a very specific function. They are supposed to help educate the Black American citizen,
yeah.
individual,
Get them
child.
ready for professional life and shit like that. So like, and that's what they're going to be my bigger point because like, if you think about it, like I hate saying it this way, but like a lot of people, some of the people that go to HBCUs, they weren't well off enough to get into PWIs, whether it be education or financials. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like they got like okay, they're going to HBCU. HBCUs have great educational systems. Like first of all, let's get that out of the way. A lot of their medical, educational, finance, law, a lot of their schools, like a lot of those people leave PWIs, go get their masters at HBCUs, depending on which specificity is. But it's just like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like these people and then it's just like the time frame of which these institutions came in to be, bro. Like you said, like we for some reason, Reconstruction keeps coming up on our podcast, but like these are very much Reconstruction institutions, bro. So it's just like of course, like some of this shit is kind of conservative, some of this shit is kind of like to teach you professionalism. But at the end of the day, it's just like if if taking your bonnet off is an issue or your do rag is an issue for you going into a classroom, because I remember we couldn't wear hats, my nigga. Like niggas was Muslim, and then you wearing your kufi in certain classrooms was a problem, like in high school. So it was just like, well, that was ninth grade. By the time we got to 10th grade, it was enough Muslims. Niggas stopped caring. But it was just like, yeah. So it was just like, yeah, bro. Like I don't. It's just like everybody need to chill at the end of the day because it's like, all right, bro. Like this motherfucker at 6:45 in the morning. You really think I'm about to be dressed to the nines at 6:45 in the morning? If you go into a job, yes, we expect you to be, you know what I'm saying, dressed to the nines 6:45 in the morning. But if you teaching me like, say I'm in remedial English, my nigga, let me come in this joint with my bonnet on.
Yeah, no, I think once again, I think the conversation is ultimately a fascinating one because institutions in the year 2026 they're changed. They're not what they were in the past. And people, the consumer, the student, no matter who it is, they're paying for it. And the consumer more than ever feels very strongly about what they're consuming. So if you have consumers who are actively telling you we don't
This ain't,
want this
yeah.
and this is gonna make us not come there, maybe
Oh,
the
niggas
HB
talking about not going to Tuskegee off of this?
I don't, it's the internet. The internet says a
Okay.
lot of stuff, so I don't really know how much, but like if there's a
So you
conversation,
bullshit. You better
like
get your education.
if you the fact of the matter is that colleges, institutions, higher institutions, they're brands as much as they are schools,
For sure.
and like people go to certain schools because of the brand. HBCUs, some people go to certain HBCUs because of that brand. I don't know if Tuskegee has that sort
Our
of,
homecoming.
I don't know if Tuskegee has that branding that other HBCU. Like if this happens at Howard, I don't. There's probably still outrage, but I don't know if the conversation is the same. Like certain places can do certain things. So I would, I would just be very interesting to see how something like this plays out in 5 to 10 years. Because, like you said, HBCUs are a great educational service, and they provide something in particular for Black people that they can't always get at other places.
For sure.
But once you start telling people, in particular, people are like, we don't want something, you need to do it like that. I think you start getting some interesting conversations about like whose will is stronger, who's willing to push back more. Is it going to be the institution who's going to set firm that hey, these are our standards, we're not budging from it, or are students going to speak with their voices, speak with their dollars, and be like, we're not going to a place like that, and the institution ultimately folds and changes their stance. So I love the conversation. I think once again, I think it's a fascinating conversation. As someone who, like I said, who wore a do rag and his pajamas to many a classes freshman year, I don't really feel that strongly. But once again, I never went to HBCU, so maybe I just don't get it. Um, my second favorite story is about, well, it's about a politician. I don't know if you heard about the Ohio senator. Well, he's running for senator who allegedly threw hot water on his wife, broke the collarbone of his 2 year old, and also just has been accused of abusing his wife. Have you heard of him?
Nah, I seen of a Republican gubernatorial candidate running now, and he allegedly killed someone when he was a child because his stepfather made him do it, allegedly. And then he became a Christian mission. I was about to say mercenary, but when I get done with this, he might be a damn mercenary. Missionary, and then he was going across the world trying to teach people Jesus. You know what I'm saying? The good name of the Lord. But he also caught some bodies while doing that.
Oh, I never heard of who's this again?
I'm gonna actually go and find this young man when we get off so we can put it in the post edit. But yeah,
Okay,
bro, cause I seen that clip today and I was like,
interesting. Yeah, they got a lot going on. But
yeah. And is the young man you talking about Republican too?
yeah, no. So
Okay.
Max Miller, Ohio. He's running for Ohio Senate. He has been accused of, as I said, breaking his 2 year old daughter's collarbone, pouring hot water on his wife, and holding a gun to her head. Now, I remind you. Well, I don't remind you, but I'll let you inform you that Max Miller's um, wife, who's alleging these things, father is a congressman,
Like currently sitting?
like a current, like he was in Congress. He was in Congress today speaking to Fauci.
It's like
Uh,
questioning Fauci.
he's questioning Fauci today, and this is my this is my conversation piece for this. The Republicans understand how to govern in the United States of America.
They
The
gone
United
too
States
far.
of America does not care about your infidelities. They don't care about your abuse. They don't care about any of that if they believe you can help them win an election and gain power. Plattner, New Hampshire, he was running for Congress in New Hampshire,
He's a
had
Democrat though.
no, that's the point I'm making. Had many allegations. I believe between 2 and 5 women came out and said he either sexually assaulted them or raped them. Um, some of it on concrete and more of it alleged. But even before he had the numbers of people saying, the numbers of women saying he had did these things, after I believe his first or second allegation, the Democratic Party at large was saying we need to get Plattner out of here. He can't run for office in New Hampshire as a Democrat, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, because he was an ex-racist or like a newfound woke person or some shit like that too, wasn't it?
I don't really know all that, but all I know is that he was going to beat the lady who has been in New Hampshire for years apparently, and they didn't like that. My issue with Max Miller is that Max Miller has abuse of not just a wife, a spouse, but of a child. And the Republican Party, when asked about him, doesn't have much to say. Libs of TikTok, all the right wing media people, they don't have much to say, but will have you believe that both Republicans and Democrats are judged the same way. And this is why I do feel bad.
Victor Marx is his name.
Victor Marx. All right, we'll get back to Victor Marx. But that is my biggest issue. Well, that's not my biggest issue, but that's why I do actually feel sad for Democrats just a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Because they actually sometimes have to be good people in a way that Republicans never have to.
Hmm.
And when you're like fighting for people's votes, it's kind of crazy that one person has to live like a Puritan lifestyle, while the other one can literally be accused of beating his wife, and still, like I said, in a recent poll, Max Miller has a 51% chance of beating Brian Poindexter, 51 to 49. So even when you are accused of beating your wife
What
and
state is this?
Ohio, beating your wife and your child,
Well, come on. Hey, I
you
don't want
are
I don't
you
want these
are still
stereotypes, bro.
deemed a valuable and in this case a favorable candidate. That to me is very 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 wild. And like I said, I don't normally feel bad for the Democrats, but that does make me feel bad for them because it must suck to have to be a Puritan while your opponent gets to be the worst person in the world and nobody cares.
Bruh, I honestly can't call it. Like, shout out to his constituents. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess he actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, he fits them. Like, he fits his constituents.
You know what? That's a good point because
Like,
when
it would
people,
he probably be like a white man, but like, bro, I want to do that to my wife and kid all the time. But like, he actually did it, and he about to get off. Like, that's the type of man I'd vote for. Like, that's the type of shit that they actually think and say out loud.
you know what? I'm like I actually like the way you frame that because when people vote for Mondani or vote for whatever Democratic Socialist, they get labeled as whatever the person they voted for. Like you voted for this, that's why.
Yeah,
People who vote for people who are child abusers, rapists, things of that nature should be given that same sort of branding. And I you know what? One thing I will say about you is that you do a good job of making the absurd not seem as absurd. So like if someone said somebody voted for something and then because they voted for that, they are aligned to that, people would be like, that's kind of absurd, right? Like, why would you be responsible for something that someone else did just because
yeah.
you
But
voted for it,
you made
or
a you made a to my in my mind a sobering choice, my nigga. Like, and you had knowledge of this because like we're in Maryland and know about what this nigga did. So I'm pretty sure people in his district, state, county, all of that know exactly what this young man did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Before we did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure like local news broke the Epstein shit. Like the Miami Herald broke the Epstein shit. I'm pretty sure the Ohio Herald or whoever it was broke this news like as soon as it happened. So I'm like, bro, like, nah, like y'all knew about this, y'all let this shit happen. Oh, okay, cool. Like, same thing in Maine. Like, if that man would have actually got elected in Maine,
I'm sorry,
I would have.
I said New Hampshire, but you're right, it was
Yeah,
Maryland.
New Hampshire, then yeah, like whatever, the northern state, yo,
Yeah.
yo. If like if that man would have got elected up there in like the city and like the area, like the wokeness area of the United States, bro. Like, okay, yeah, bro. Like, I'm looking at y'all a little different now too. Like, You know what I'm saying? So just and I was facetiously saying like, oh, I'm not trying to make stereotypes, but like, nah, for real, bro. Like, what we know about people in Ohio? Like, they drink, they eat cheese, and they might beat their wife. Food, they have football, they great football players too. But like, you know what I'm saying? Some stereotypes that come in certain areas. So just like, shit, fuck that. If we're gonna get a HBCU stereotypes, we're gonna throw that stereotype on them too. Shit, me.
Not mad at that. Um, let's get up out of here with some sports. Let's finish up real quick. Shout out to your boy LeBron. Last week we discussed
You a wild
what
nigga.
he would or wouldn't do.
You a wild nigga.
He made the
You a wild nigga. That was good. Go ahead.
LeBron made the decision that he would be playing 2 more seasons, but he will be playing in Philadelphia.
Yep.
I think I put it in one of our chats. We're in the basketball chat that if the Knicks didn't win the championship, LeBron would have went to New York. But since
Yeah.
they did win, uh, this is why he's in Philadelphia. And I was kind of just joking when I said that. But as I have seen more people give credence to this theory, it actually makes a lot of sense. Like it's the
Hmm.
one place to me LeBron James can both get enough credit but not enough blame. Like it'll be no, I'm sorry. It's the one place LeBron can go where he can get more credit but not enough blame. So if the Sixers happen to win, like get to an NBA Finals, win it all, most people are going to say that it's because of the presence of LeBron. Even if LeBron isn't the best player, people
Trust
will
you really
people
just took this out of my brain.
people will argue that it is the 23 years and all it's him being there that led them to winning. Now, if they lose, people will say, "Well, LeBron's 42. LeBron is old. What does it? What LeBron's legacy is finalized. It's done. There's nothing else. What do you got? What are you guys expecting from him?
I know you ain't expect Embiid to play the whole season, 70 games, shit, 60 games.
Maybe, maybe not. But I think that's
No,
where.
I'm just adding on to your point, like,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
excuse train that they
Oh,
would
for
make
sure, for
up.
sure, for sure. And I think that's where LeBron. I think LeBron had to sit with that and go, where, if I calculate this, do I both get optimal praise without the blame? And I think outside of maybe DC, like DC could have been a place, but like they're not as close to winning as the Sixers are. Like to me, the Sixers are the perfect story. Like if you win it, you help the team that hasn't won in 40 years win a championship. You help a team that hasn't been to the finals in 25 years get to a championship.
Okay.
Those things, they'll put you in a certain category. LeBron will be the only person in NBA history to win a finals with 4 different teams.
Different teams, yeah.
There's little stuff like that. And I have this conversation a lot of times when I'm talking about the history of basketball. The history of basketball isn't what you like. It is a history.
It's what
It,
it is,
it
man.
is what it is. So like Jerry West is 1-9 in the finals. God rest
Yeah.
his soul. But like that's on the logos. That's on the logos record. Michael
Finals,
Jordan's.
finals MVP and lost though.
You know what I'm saying? That's once
Like,
again
you know what I'm
on
saying?
his record. 6-0 in the finals. That's on Jordan's record.
George Rocket.
These things. Once again, no matter how you want to slice it,
Was
they
Kobe
are
5-2?
5-2. Giannis 50 point closeout game. Like
Yeah.
certain things are what they are, and that's the beauty in particular of sports, but basketball in particular. Like it has a rich history that I would argue is very modern as well. Like the history isn't super disconnected in a way that I feel like baseball is sometimes. Sometimes you got to go back to you got to go pre-depression sometimes in baseball
Bruh.
to get
Fucking
your
Black Sox, my nigga.
type shit, But like a lot of the main NBA history is you know civil rights era, 60s,
Yeah,
60s
yeah.
on. So it's a lot closer in nature. So I think LeBron did the calculations, and I think he's made a good decision for himself. Um, I don't think any of these things work like we say they work because the media is fickle. Like the media will say, "Oh yeah, we're not going to blame LeBron now," but let the Sixers be 60-22 in the number one seed in the Eastern Conference going into the playoffs, and everybody will be like, "What do you mean? If he doesn't win the finals, he's a narratives will change very quickly."
I don't want that for LeBron, for like good or bad reasons, because it's just like the real reason I want this nigga to go home, bro, is be like, you did enough, fool. Like you honestly done more than what people thought you were going to do. So it's just like, bro, like you did what you supposed to do. You brought a ring to LA after Kobe died, bro. Like I honestly would have retired then. I'm like, oh yeah, like Kobe passed, brought the ring to LA. Nigga said I wouldn't do it. I'm niggas. So it's just like it's just like fool, like, all right, I'm out of here. Fuck y'all. Like I'm about to make another bad Space Jam movie and y'all go and watch it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all and I'm gonna go about my day. But like you said, like I just thought about that. Like 60 and 22, LeBron James at the great age of 43. And then I'm just thinking about like for them to win that many games, it's just like wow, Joel Embiid probably played at least 53 of them damn games. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Then it's just like I'm just thinking about health and all this good shit that can go on. And then I'm just thinking about that little light skinned nigga that just won the championship and what he did in the playoffs last year. And it's just like, bro, I hope these niggas are by at least 16 with more than 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Because that little bastard going to find a way to walk them down. Possibly. So it's just like, yeah. And that's all I think about them Braun being on the court. As a hate watcher, I would love it. But like as LeBron James and all the criticism and shit, I'm tired. Of, honestly, even as a Braun hater, bro, I'm just tired of everybody talking about this nigga. I want him to go home. That's all I want. Like let's just wrap this shit up. If we can fast forward to next year, just be like, yeah, this shit is time. This shit is time. But that's my man
That's your jokes. Um, the WNBA All Star weekend just passed.
though. Yeah.
Um, Once again, I think Omatic made the point that the WNBA All Star Weekend is kind of mid, and the best thing they have is the 3-point contest, which I think he actually got proved right on all the courts because this weekend was kind of mid. But I think the funniest thing to me is that the WNBA,
We got a dunk though.
shout out Malonga, she was hooping. She's a hooper.
I'm not
She's
saying
young as
she's
shit.
definitely.
She's like 20 years old.
Am I saying she's 19 or some shit?
Yeah, she was 19 last year, so I think she's 20 now.
Oh,
The thing about the WNBA is that if you, all right, let me see how I can say this. No, I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. All right, when the they're in the 30th anniversary this year or whatever, and it's
yes, sir.
it's a lot of
Yes, sir.
when the WNBA first started, I feel as though people remember it as something that a lot of people liked or a lot of people were into. And what I would actually remind people, somebody's gonna be like, "What do you remember? You were only 4 years old." Yes, very true. But what I do remember is like around 1999, 2000, a little older then, women's sports was a very big deal. Like Mia Hamm, that U.S. World Cup team,
Yeah.
just the '96 Olympics, like all those kind of women's teams. They had Jenny Finch, Mendoza from the softball.
Mhm.
There was kind of a want for women's
But
sports.
you can't tell me Cynthia Cooper Dyke ain't point guard in the WNBA. Or like she won the first four chips, my nigga, and she was like 37.
Yeah, like there was a big at the end of the '90s, early 2000s, like a push to be like women's sports is here. So
Hmm.
like I felt like if you were watching TV, in particular like the ESPNs of like you saw women's sports and women's sports was being pushed to the forefront.
I said, if it
And
weren't
then
for the Connecticut Huskies, what would ESPN be, John? Like,
like towards the end of the 2010s, or towards the end of the 2000s, this shit kind of fell off. Like for whatever reason, they were like, this isn't as much of an. We don't want to make the investment, and they kind of just pulled back. Like you started losing teams like the Detroit Shock,
yeah,
Comets, all those teams. They just kind of fell out of existence because there just really wasn't the same desire about a decade earlier. Now we're
with
in
Diamond
the
Taurasi and Sue Bird going fucking crazy, swing cash and
yeah, they're
all
having a
that.
time, and like people just didn't really care that much. But then you have the starting of the 2020s, and we have it coming back again. Like we have
Yeah.
this,
Well,
you
I
know,
think Maya Morphe brought it back, and then she changed her life for justice.
yeah, we're having this kind of rejuvenation of the women's game, the women's sport, and now the popularity is, going back to when it first to the inaugural season, the beginning of it. I feel like people who were part of the WNBA when there was that lapse when people really didn't care and it really wasn't as popular and it wasn't new, they're holding on to the fact that they were the only ones who were there. Like they are really holding on to the fact that they were, they were going to the games, they were buying the merch, they were talking them, they were keeping the sport alive, and they don't want to admit that we go through cycles and this is a new cycle. So women's sports has been popular before and it hasn't, and now it's popular again. And they want to treat it as if though it was always popular no, it was popular, then it wasn't, and now it's popular again. And when it wasn't, there was a specific reason. Mainly because people just weren't really invested in it. Like they didn't invest into it. Now they're investing into it more. And when people invest into it more, you kind of have to do what the people who are investing the money want you to do. So a lot of the WNBA conversation right now I see is about people who I think were holding it down when no one was watching, being upset that they're not being heard or the things they care about don't seem to matter. And I want them to realize that's how this works.
I was about to say it didn't matter back then, sweetheart.
And I think that's a point that sometimes it's tough to make for people to hear is that it didn't matter back then, but nobody really cared. More people care now, so you can't do the same things you were doing. Like, as much as people want to talk about the WNBA being an activist league,
Hmm.
it wasn't always that. When it first started, it wasn't an activist league. It became an activist league when there was less investment into it because people, for whatever reason, didn't believe in it. That's when it shifted to being more of an activist league. Now that people are like, yo, there's money to be made here again, they don't want the activism. Like that's kind of the trade off that I don't think some of the
Didn't they?
diehard
Didn't they win the
WNBA
gold
fans.
when men won a bronze that year too?
They've won like seven straight. So yeah,
Yeah.
when the men lost when the men, like you said, came in third in 2000, they were winning. They were winning goals versus an Australian team that was really good with
That's
Lauren
really good.
Jackson and
Yeah.
others. So that's the thing to me that the sport, women's basketball, like when people talk about it, I'm like, oh, you're just trying to get points. You're just trying to get people. You're just trying to get a pat on the back. You just want people to be like, "Oh, okay, you said the right thing."
Oh, you
But
root for girls.
yeah, and the truth of the matter is that sports in this country comes in like it has waves and flows. Like football wasn't always the most popular sport in this country, and as it became more popular, the way we talk about it and kind of the things that surround the game change. Baseball used to be how we think of the NFL. The MLB used to be the way you can't anything turns into a
Bro, we're,
polarizing, a
we're
cultural.
dead ass. We're dead ass 30 years into baseball not being the thing for real. At
Yeah,
least in
once
my eyes.
I mean, yeah, once what they had since they had that lockout in what '94, like
Yeah.
yeah, they probably haven't been right since. They had the summer, the steroid summer, but then they went away from that. So to me, like baseball's a good kind of I don't know test study because once again, baseball it has a lot longer history,
Yeah,
and
like
that's the big thing with
it's
the
kind of hard.
WNBA. The WNBA is in its infancy
Yeah,
in all
we're
actuality.
older than the
You know
WNBA.
what I'm saying? Like when you're judging it against other leagues of things of that nature, it's truly a baby league, but it's an unserious league too. So like their All Star weekend, when the highlight of your All Star weekend is a non All Star player talking about her ex girlfriend cheating on her with other non All Star players, like
Non-league players, my nigga.
oh
Like
yes, I'm sorry,
a non-all-star
Deja
player.
Kelly and Aaliyah Nye. I think Aaliyah Nye just got back on the roster, just like
Oh,
very,
for real?
very, yeah, very recently. I think she might be on
Uh,
the Temple roster, Toronto.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
Well, at least she's not in the country. God bless.
yeah, no, it's a funny league. I wouldn't say
They
unserious,
both
but
fine as shit though. I ain't gonna lie.
listen, shout out Liz. Liz roster is crazy. She's
But
doing crazy numbers. Last thing I wanted to bring up, football. Not the FIFA soccer. There's a lot of
oh,
corruption. We'll get to that later when there's more details. I feel as though as the week go, I feel like by next week we'll have a lot more insight onto that actual corruption piece.
mm,
But NFL training camps, all training camps have begun. All players are here. All players are at training camp. What you looking forward to?
um, Jerry Jones spoke for the first time since I could remember today in front of a microphone in front of the press, and he didn't say too much. He dropped a little something talking about something. If he sees something during training camp the first couple of weeks, he's willing to sell some future for some right now. And from what he did, trading Michael away, and then a couple acquisitions he did this week. I mean, this year off season. Kind of looking forward to that. But I'm really honestly, I want to see what Carolina training camp looking like. You know what I'm saying? My boys down there in Carolina. Um, Texans, I fuck with the Texans too. Seattle, see if my boy Nick Hemior gonna come off the pup list. You know what I'm saying? Just some regular shit, and then some degenerate fantasy stuff that I got in mind. But other than that, but I just want everybody. I want guys to get through this joint healthy. It's a lot of card offs that we've seen so far. Like, and I seen Stort from the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, to your point, I've seen a lot of injuries. I was gonna bring up
Yeah,
Carolina in particular because I saw they
yeah,
had
they
like
had two in 2 days.
yeah, they had two major ones, but because of how violent football is, because of how many not more games, but there's one more regular season game, but just because of you know how violent it is, the fact that there's more regular season games now, there's more money involved. Should there like actually be some change to how the off season works? Because like you need a practice. Like you can't just wait till September and then put it
And
on
just
pads
jump out there.
and play. But there has to be something because, like you said, it feels as though like there's a lot of injuries. And I don't see people wearing pads. It seems to be all
Yeah,
shorts,
non-contact shit, bro.
So what is? How do like? Is there something to be done, or is this just people are bigger, stronger than they ever been before, faster, and this is just the product of it? Because I'm actually curious because you hear about this in the NBA, and to me, I'm like, it's probably a wear and tear issue. Like
Yeah,
catchers play a lot versus in the NFL, like you don't just go out playing football. Like people just don't wake up at 8 in the morning and go play 7-on-7 football.
for sure.
A lot of times it's workouts, da da da, and then specific training, and that's when you see a lot of people get hurt. So I'm just really curious. In your mind, is there something that can be done? Is there? Is it just this is just what it is? You playing a dangerous sport. Sometimes shit happens.
I think that's part of it. I think it is bigger, stronger, faster. But I also think that like somewhere along the way we lost like muscle flexion. Like it's cool to build muscle, but at the same time, like if you're gonna be that big, moving that fast and that way with that angle and shit that you're doing like that, because if you watch Stort, the way his joint look, like his knee dead ass, like
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to bend that way. But at the same time, like if you stretch your body certain ways, like that's why like certain people was talking about yoga and shit like that, like opening your hips, opening your
Mm-hmm.
joints, like actually doing certain stretches and shit like that. Like I'm not saying I'm not saying it would have prevented that, but it might have prevented like an MCL, ACL, like
Or maybe it
tear.
makes it not as worse. Maybe you still get hurt, but it's
You
not
know what I'm saying?
as
Like it's not a
long.
tear. It's not a
Yeah,
tear, but it's a strain. You know what I'm
that's a
saying?
good
Like
point. Good point.
you know what I'm saying? You out for some shit because like you being that big, that fast, doing what you doing at your size, my nigga. Like something gonna happen. Like that's just that's just physics. But like you know what I'm saying? I definitely think like if you can find ways to like elasticize your muscles as well as building them. then it's just like, yeah, because it's just like, bro, like, could that be my only thing? Because, like, this is all non contact shit. Like, this ain't even nothing like niggas going head up. Like,
Hmm. No Oklahoma drills. Just
none,
you
bro.
know.
Like, this ain't even like real inertial or whatever the fuck it is. Like, this is really just like, oh yeah, like I'm not supposed to move this way. Like muscle dead ass. Like, oh, we not supposed to do this. Snap type shit. Like recoil or
He said Rico.
overextension.
He said Rico.
Dead ass. It's just like, oh dog. So it's just like that's all I can think about. But I definitely don't think like at the same time, I also think like these niggas think that like they freak athletes, they work out all this, all that. So when it's time to go back to practice workout or like professional working out, like going back to your job, then like yeah, I should be good. But it's just like, bro, you paying this nigga to work you out. He's listening to you because he don't want to get fired in the off season. Them other niggas, you kind of work for them or you don't work for them. They work for you, but they work for your boss. So it's just like I understand you gonna cuss me out and say you don't want to do this, but I better dub you gonna do this though. Because if I say if I say you ain't do it, then you might get fined, my nigga. So it's just like yeah, but I don't know, bro. God bless. I want all these young men to heal up fully and in a very speedy way. Because I would love to see Chris Brazil out there catching passes from Bryce Young for sure, for sure. I ain't seen Stewart out there getting all that smut off his name from last year holdout and then not being as good as he was supposed to be last year. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, About to get up out of here. Like I said, emergency, not emergency, but day early. Won't be here tomorrow. So
Yeah,
shout
little
out
in
to
and
y'all.
out jump.
See y'all next week. Next Thursday, we will be back at it. Um, oh, and then Yahoo will be in town. They said
He's
now
here
y'all.
right now.
Yes. And I saw a great post that said the way you know Netanyahu's in town is that Fetterman, congressman from Pennsylvania, dressed up. If you
Yeah.
see Fetterman is dressed up,
If
you
you see him with a
know.
shirt, suit, and tie, his
You
daddy's in
see,
town.
they say you know his person of interest and choice is actually in town. So shout out to the people you talk about dressing up. Maybe it's not just the black folks. Maybe it's not just a black people thing. You know.
Yeah, for sure. But we're not cucks.
Ooh, that was a crazy stray, but we'll see you
No, that was
guys.
direct. He knows